Saturday night, UFC 290 International Fight Week is in the bag, and what a fight card it was. I'm going to give you a breakdown of all the fights that happened, but for this video, we're going to talk about Dricus du Plessis, Robert Whittaker, and Israel Adesanya, okay? But first of all, let's talk about the fight itself. Incredible fight. Robert Whittaker, former champion, very, very skilled. The only person to beat him in the last, God knows, many years is Israel Adesanya, right? I'll be honest, I didn't give du Plessis much of a chance. I knew he had the intangibles. I knew he had the heart and the will to win, the dedication, the punching power, and the no quit, okay? You need all those things. But to go up against somebody as slick as Robert Whittaker, a man that's represented his own country at wrestling, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, a brilliant striker, years and years of experience, a former champion, and many, many fights under his belt, I thought it was a big ask, okay? Because when you look at du Plessis in the past, looked a little bit sloppy, looked a little bit sluggish, sometimes was very tired by the second round. Well, that guy never showed up. That guy did not show up. What showed up was an incredible fighter that is ready to fight Israel Adesanya. Listen, the fight started and Whittaker looked his usual self, you know, using the footwork, darting in and out, picking his shots, growing in confidence as it went. We saw the hands come down to almost the waist. When the hands are low, it makes it very, very hard to read and see where the punches are coming from because it's an unusual angle, okay? But he was growing in confidence, but so was du Plessis. Du Plessis was cutting the cage off, going at him. Now, in round one, Robert Whittaker landed 50% of his power shots, but Dricus du Plessis landed 53%, and they both hit one takedown. However, the takedown of du Plessis paid off big time. It was a weird head and arm throw. We see it in women's mixed martial arts all the time. Works well there. Generally not in men's MMA. Doesn't seem to work. Headlock throws don't seem to work, but du Plessis did. It showed off how good his judo was. The problem is when you take someone down with a headlock, you have the head here, right? Whittaker with an underhook, he's just going to pop his head out, pull it out here, and he's taking the back. However, Dricus was aware of that. So he scrambled, he moved, he used an underhook. He established top position and he made it count. Raining down elbows, doing some significant damage to Robert Whittaker. Still, that's round one in the bag, pretty even. I might have even give it to Dricus, to be honest, because he did the most damage. Round two starts, we're seeing a different kettle of fish. Robert Whittaker, the output had dropped. He was only landing 34% of his strikes, but Dricus du Plessis landed 66% of his strikes, including 33 of 50 power strikes. And as we know, the fight ended in that round anyway, so it doesn't matter. And the way it ended, well, du Plessis beat him to the punch. Okay, and what I mean by that is that generally, Whittaker was throwing a lot of lead left hooks, okay? Left hooks are great, they're big, they're powerful, all the rest of it, but it's not the fastest shot. Typically, you want to go 1, 2, left hook. Power shots, a lot of the time, you have to set them up. Not all the time. Loads of people land power shots, hooks, etc. Think of Mike Tyson. But you take a risk, you know. A straight shot will beat a hook. A to B, as the crow flies. The quickest way to the destination, which is Whittaker's chin and du Plessis' chin. Robert's going to go all the way around du Plessis, some straight out. And what a jab it was. I mean, come on. Dropped Robert Whittaker. His eyes rolled in the back of his head. I take no enjoyment from saying that because I love Robert Whittaker. I am such a fan of the fighter and the person that he is as well. I had a great chat with him last week. It's on the YouTube channel. If you haven't seen that, check it out because you get a real insight into what kind of man Robert Whittaker is. But he dropped him. Whittaker, being the warrior that he is, finds his way back to his feet, and du Plessis went after him. Recently, I partnered with a company called Legacy Precious Metals. Now, I know a lot of people are going through tough times right now, but if you are fortunate enough to where you have a few dollars left over every month to think about investing, then maybe investing in gold and silver through Legacy Precious Metals might be for you. Now, the stock market, if you follow that stuff, it's all over the place. In fact, it's plummeting right now. But precious metals, they've always held their value or even increase. So, of course, that's something that we're all interested in. Does it have to be a lot of money? It can just be a little bit because it all adds up over time. Now, if you click the link, there is a guide there. It'll tell you all about investing in gold and silver, or you can give them a call and they will answer all of your questions at 866-933-0317. He was on the hunt. He knew the finish was in sight. But again, this is what was so impressive. He didn't rush it. He didn't lose his composure. He stayed calm. He picked his shots, teeing off against Whittaker against the fence. So Whittaker's covered up like this. When you cover up like this, what's open? Look at this, all the body. So he's going to the head, sees that, Wolf, massive right hook to the body. Whittaker drops because he's only a human being. A few more shots and Mark Goddard calls off the fight. Tremendous fight, tremendous win. And I'll apologize. I didn't think he could do it. I knew he had a chance to out-tough him. But just technically, and as tough as Robert Whittaker is, it just seemed like a big ask. Now, when you look back at the fights with Darren Till, the fight with Derek Brunson, and all the other fights, I look at them in a different light now. You know what I mean? Darren Till went toe-to-toe with Robert Whittaker for 5 rounds, right? And he kind of manhandled Darren Till a little bit, and I say that with great respect. Darren's a good friend of mine, but he did, Dricus had a great fight, and it seemed there was some narrative, not from me, that Darren was on the way down. Well, no, it's just that Dricus is that goddamn good. Look at what he did to Derek Brunson. Yeah, he was taken down. Derek Brunson's made a career of taking people down, but he got back to his feet and he finished him in the second round. The corner threw the towel in because of the punishment. So we were looking at those fights all wrong, including me. Whittaker smashed it. And then we know what happened next, okay? Israel Adesanya takes to the cage. But before he did, it showed him in the stage, still on him, a camera, a single shot, mad, looking pissed off. Because I don't think this is how he thought it was going to go down. In his mind, even though he wanted to fight Dricus, because he said he wanted to beat the brakes off him, I think he thought Whittaker was going to smoke him. Whittaker was going to take care of business. And then he was going to fight Robert Whittaker yet again and get an easy payday because he knows he can beat Whittaker. However, Robert could have beat him. We never know. We never know. But that's what he thought was going to go down. But what he saw was Dricus du Plessis, a man that gets him mad. Du Plessis gets him mad. He went out there, he beat Robert Whittaker, who he beat by decision over 5 rounds, and Du Plessis just smashed him, okay? So he's like, I've got to fight that guy now. And he wants to fight him. Of course he does. But that isn't what he thought he was going to get. Even if Dricus won, he thought it's going to be a slob fest. It's going to be both guys throwing like this. That's not what we saw either. We saw Dricus du Plessis massively improved. Every time you do a training camp, you go up a level. You level up, you get better. Everything because you're training. When I signed with the UFC, 2005, the version of me then, compared to the version when I retired, it was day and night. Unless you're a moron, you're getting better through every single fight camp. And we've seen that clearly with Dricus. Now, what happens? Because the build-up between Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya, I guess it will go down in Sydney, Australia, because that'll just be a massive fight. Of course, Izzy's from that neck of the woods. All right, don't get me started on the Nigeria thing. My God, see what I mean? It's a minefield. But he's from that neck of the woods. He lives in New Zealand. Him fighting in Sydney, Australia, given the build-up would be unbelievable. And I believe this build-up, it's going to get nasty. It's going to get personal. It's going to be on the level of a Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. And what does that mean? That means pay-per-view buys, ladies and gentlemen. And this is authentic. And that's what was the great thing about Conor and Khabib. It wasn't fabricated. It wasn't authentic. They weren't trying to sell pay-per-views. They hated one another. And the public buys into that, okay? Now, there was some words said on the microphone. Izzy, listen, things get said in the moment, okay? At the end of the day, it is the fight game, okay? You're from Africa, you're not from Africa, all this type of stuff. Who cares? Who cares, right? Let them hate each other. Let them sell the fight to the buying public. Because at the end of the day, they're going to settle it all in the octagon. And I'm assuming that once they do, they'll shake hands and forget about it. That doesn't mean the build-up is fake, right? Because people always say that. I've heard people say, I hate seeing a fighter go out there and then they hate each other. Then after the fight, they shake hands. Well, because then you have each other's respect because you've shared something very personal, very intimate. You've gone to war, just the two of you, and it's hard not to have respect for one another after the dust settles. But they've got to be careful in the training camp because that emotion, that raw emotion, that hate's a powerful motivator. What can that do? Well, it can certainly make sure that you train accordingly. It could also make sure you overtrain because you just cannot lose to this guy. You're getting up every day. You're pushing yourself to the level, the limit. You're bringing in the best training partners money can buy. You're sparring your head off because you're like, I've got to be the best version. I hate this guy. I will not let him win. And it also might cause you to fight a little conservative. Like, look at Rashad Evans and Quinton Rampage Jackson when they fought at UFC 114. The build-up to that was so personal. The pay-per-view buys were massive. And the fight, other than a big right hand from Rashad, which dropped him at the start, wasn't the craziest fight you'll ever see. Decent fight, I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying it wasn't what the build-up anticipated to, because they hate each other so much, they don't want to lose to one another. Now, the fight's going to go down in Sydney, Australia in about 9 weeks. That's not me making an official announcement. That is just my guess. And look, listen, the bad blood is going to be terrible. I'm not a historian. I'm not a genealogist. I like both guys, but they might just want to tone it down a bit. You know what I mean? And maybe they will, maybe they won't. Who cares? We don't care, because the fight will be ridiculous. Congratulations to Dricus du Plessis. Well done. Commiserations to Robert Whittaker. You'll be back, brother. You've had an incredible career. You're far from done yet. You win some, you lose some. And Israel Adesanya, keep doing your thing, bro, because I love watching you. There it is. I'm going to have other videos about Volkanovski, the main event. We're going to talk about Jalen Turner. We're going to go through all the fights and give you some good stuff, some good perspective, maybe teach you a little thing or two. But until then, subscribe, ring the bell. Catch you soon.